Welcome to a late night rando episode of Link to the Past Randomizer for SpeedGaming Live. We are in the thick of the round of the 128, all the way trying to prune down to the round of 32. This is surprisingly, this is a losers bracket match. Don't let losers bracket fool you, because these two are extremely talented runners. We've got two very heavy hitters, Kyong versus RadicalSniper99 or Jesse, and you know what? Because it's a loser bracket, unfortunately, one of these very talented runners is going to have to end their tournament life here. So it's going to be definitely really exciting, high execution. My name is Claire Mouse. I'm joined tonight by the one and only Wallkicks. Wallkicks, how are you doing?
I'm fantastic, and you know what? I'm full because I had food before we started this.
What a novel concept! Eating not
It's amazing
during stream. Although now I'm disappointed because so recently we've had chicken nuggets. We've had Baconator with burgers. We had pizza. So I was actually really curious what tonight was going to be.
No.
I guess you already ate, so I guess
it's true. But I mean, there is an actual race to be had. Like you said, two amazing runners. Unfortunately, we will be losing one of them after this. But it's going to be exciting. SGLIVE has proven to be quite the tournament when it comes to potential upsets. So it'll be exciting to see what happens here.
Yeah, I mean, if talk about upsets, right? The fact that these guys, I'm pretty sure were upset when, in this case, not actually like maybe emotionally upset, but like the match itself were upsets, right? Because
it just goes to show that like in essentially a best of one, anything can happen, because all it takes is one hard last location, and for an amazing runner, that's a GG's essentially.
I mean, and in fact, actually, so I think Kyong, round one in winner's bracket, he unfortunately left, what is it? I think not green-handed Helma sword, and had no, it was green. No, actually, it was Helma sword. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and Sahaja had the ice rod, and you know what? You don't really go back for something like that once you make the initial decision to leave, right? So Kyong was, amazing in his execution. But sometimes that's rando's gonna rando, right? But that's exactly why we have double elimination this year. You get both these runners, of course, on their redemption arc, hoping in this case that they're going to be able to claw their way back over to the round of 32 and beyond.
I think the correct wording for that is everybody gets one, and they've literally had their one.
What is it? Tomato? Or do you prefer potatoes in this case?
But anyways, SGL escape. So this is kind of what you see. I don't want to say NMG because we don't have the boots for NMG, but this is a similar aspect in that we do the standard escape sequence, except we just go faster.
Oh yeah. And so normally, so as you said, for NMG, typically speaking, a lot of runners really like to be able to kind of shoot for that sub-6 time. But of course, with boots, especially with that sword, we're going to be able to go much faster. And some of, I would say, some more high caliber, high execution runners tend to try and go for that flat 5. Pretty difficult. Also needs a little bit of cooperation, but fast times are going to be something like 5:05, 5:10. Certainly wouldn't expect too much difference, from these runners. And of course, that's only just what the bare minimum, right? We've got the sword and boots, but there's always things that can speed things up, right? We got you can get a master sword. How about we find a mirror right here in Zelda Cell?
A mirror is probably the best thing you can find by the time you pick up Zelda, just because you can then just mirror back and make it easy. Unfortunately, not a mirror.
Unfortunately, yes. And in fact, the fighter shield does have its uses in 2, maybe 3 screens. But that's why we have it. But unfortunately, escape is probably not going to be the location where the shield is really going to shine or clink in this case.
Now we can really be NMG because we have a fighter sword and a fighter shield.
Yes, we just happen to get the shield in this case from our rescuee in this case, as opposed to our uncle, who kind of I guess we abandoned, didn't we? Now I feel bad.
So what I think happened is that Zelda probably went to go check on the uncle and was like, "Oh, I'm taking your shield," and then.
Okay, so it's Zelda's fault.
Maybe it was Zelda that was going to be like, "All right, I'll rescue myself." Forgot to pick up the sword. it grabbed the shield instead and was like, "This'll do," and then it didn't quite work out.
I mean, the fact that we can't see our uncle anymore is pretty unfortunate. But at least she was generous enough in order to hand us over our uncle's precious heirloom. Barest defense we could ever get in this case.
Also, what kind of guards allow the prisoner their own treasure chest?
Yeah, that's actually good. You know what, Wallcakes, if you end up if you become a supervillain and you decide to design some dungeons and prisons, you know what, these are good lessons for you to take advantage of.
If I'm gonna become a supervillain, I'm gonna make sure to model everything like Ganondorf or like Bowser, where I can totally not get defeated by my nemesis.
Yeah, ideally also how about you don't slowly gradually increase the difficulty for the hero. Just kill him outright at the beginning when you're going down 3 hearts or something. Although speaking of, we've got a pretty good upgrade so far. We found the Cadence of Mario from Dark Cross.
Yeah, it's a good item to have. Usually one of the later game items, but just for convenience sake, you always like to have some of the later game items early. Could potentially lead to an early Mire or Turtle Rock play though. It's be interesting to see kind of how the seed develops and what our pendants and crystals are. Notice neither of our runner did a map check. I'm very disappointed.
You gotta go for the 5 escape, Wallcakes. I mean, how can you?
And neither of them got it.
Kyong's gonna walk out of here with a 5-10. He also did pick up I think both magic pots. And
it's true.
Now, I am disappointed in you, Wallcakes, in that, when we saw the King of Samara, you were like, yeah, that we can potentially go to Mire, or Turtle Rock, where you actually, need the cane. I'm pretty sure we're gonna go to Ice Palace with that cane. Maybe, that's a good place to be, right? We can next ice break through.
So what you're saying is we're going to sequence break Ice Palace without the Moon Pearl for our first dungeon clear? I'm okay with that.
Yeah, of course. Because we can do some fake flippering. I'm sure these guys are more than comfortable with doing so. And you can Link revive or whatever. Marissa revive.
It took me a second to so why did Clear Match just say that? I'm like, oh, you're referencing Kyong's actual sprite.
Yeah, that's right. I guess it might be a mushroom revival though, because I think that's the buddy sprite that's for Kyong.
Something like that. A couple of things that we have actually picked up, as opposed to us just randomly talking.
We're supposed to be watching the race. Oh right, yeah, okay.
I actually have been watching the race. Thank you very much. Okay. We did get a map check. There is a 5-6 crystal at Desert and regular crystals at Hera and Eastern. And then we also did pick up our first bottle. Only 2 bottles in this mode in these SGL settings, and they're both going to be empty. But early bottle means we're not orphaning sick kid.
Yes, and in fact, it actually looks like both runners is taking very, I would say, common path in this case. After escape, checking bonk rocks, gonna check lumberjack, go through Lost Woods, and then looks like actually both runners are gonna make their way to Kakariko. So one of the reasons, or maybe that some other runners like to delay Kakariko, is so if you could find a bottle elsewhere, you can find a flute elsewhere, you can only have to make 1 trip. But that bottle, though, it's gonna make things much more incentivized, because we can just turn it in immediately.
That bottle, and plus, I believe the 20 rupees that Kyong just pulled was actually tier 1, so we should be able to quite easily get up to Zora money.
Yeah, that's actually It might. I think for Kyong, maybe that's So Kyong, among many other accolades, he is very, very skilled at spoiler log tournament solo specific. I mean, well, he's probably talented at everything, but he really did shine in the spoiler log tournament. Particularly, he was very, very good at resource management, and he uses basically everything to his advantage and to his knowledge. So the fact that he knows that there's money, even though he found 300 here in Blindside, I think is still going to be to his advantage. He's just going to basically be able to cover all those bases at this point.
I'm also pretty sure you're never going to see him make an expression.
That is true. Kyong has certainly been very good to have a poker face. And in fact, so Kyong famously, last year he made it to the semis. Eventually lost to Jem. If you haven't seen that race, it was a very, very good watch. And Kyong may or may not have done Dark Aga on low percent, and may or may not have gotten lost. And you could not tell that he was panicked at all. It's quite the treat.
Good to know.
What is this? What is this? Wallcakes?
It is the here are 2 items that you need. Please continue on well.
I am surprised actually that we see the bow and the
Ooh, hello,
flute.
flute.
Okay, coming to Kakariko here was a very good decision for this seed. We don't have to basically come back.
Yeah.
There's I guess like one, I guess technically more check we can make here, which is like magic bat. But you know we need the powder, we need the mirror, or we need the hammer, right? So usually this something combined with hammer pegs later, but man, everything is here in Kakariko.
Yeah, so it's good for both runners to start here as opposed to, like you said, some runners have sort of adopted a little bit of a hybrid route where they maybe try to avoid Kakariko in hopes of finding a flute or bottle, except in this seed, they were both just along the way.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so did you say something about early mire access? So we are another glove away from being able to get to that area. It's on Sick Kid, right?
Yes.
So close.
You put me on the spot real quick, so I had to.
You're right. You're
yes
right. I
no.
apologize. Yeah, I got to give you a lead in.
No, it's okay. So it'll be interesting to see kind of where these runners go after Kakariko, because there's a lot open to them. I mean, they can do Crystal Eastern right here, right now. We've got the bow, we've got the glove. It would be easy. It's not fully in logic without the lamp, but still very doable.
I was just going to ask, Wallkicks, do you think these runners are capable of clearing out Eastern Palace without that lamp? Because they can't see in the back, right?
I think Jesse is. I don't know about Kyong.
Okay, all right. You know what? We're going to have to, just put our faith in our runners today that they're going to be able to navigate some dark rooms today.
See, Kyong isn't even going straight to Eastern. Like he clearly doesn't think he can do it. I see.
You know what? I'm going to agree with this now that apparently you're going to just eat your words, Wallkicks, because Jesse's doing the exact same thing.
Heck.
Now,
I was making me a liar.
Exactly. Yeah. I was actually kind of curious. If maybe an option for them. So, and what do you think? If they're potentially trying to delay Eastern, if they can find like Darkhold access and like the mirror, so that they can bind pods together. I don't know if that's like a thing though. For because you do have a crystal like clearable to you immediately.
I mean, it's still super early in the season. With the flute, it's not like we're really losing any time by, attempting to, do other Sphere 1 checks in the hopes of finding some more items. Like either option would have been correct. This is just giving them potentially more to find before we go into the inevitable Eastern play, because Eastern's not going to be that far down the list of things to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so and chances are, we've already found a lot of stuff, but there are quite a few number of checks that we can actually have in Mini Molder, like that. Oh my gosh.
Hey, Clearmouse, you were talking about wanting to pick up a mirror or something.
Yeah, this is quite the bounty. I mean, Master Sword and mirror immediately. Dude, like they're routing. Mid to late games can be really, really efficient. Even early game, for that matter.
All right, Clearmouse, since you're the one that clearly knows where all the items are, I have an important question for you.
What is your question, Wallkicks?
Where are the boots?
You know what? I don't know if we're ever gonna find out this seed. I guess if we see a green 20, before the runners pick up Tempered, we're gonna be able to celebrate really fast. But I am, I don't know, based on how this. Oh my gosh! Never mind. We're never gonna know. We're never gonna know. Tell Kyong and Jesse to reset this because they've got too much stuff.
Clearmouse, please. You're the one that's You're the one that's making things into being. You've got the touch this seed.
Yeah, just you watch their runners, right? And they made they are stoic, super focused. They're not even like cracking a smile at the fact that they have Tempered. At the 12-minute mark, basically, which is like the most comfortable execution to have, right?
This is their elimination phase.
That is actually a good point. Kyong picking up a very important bug net to go with that bottle. Given that he did pick up a B from Waterfall Fairy, I guess it's a good B for what it's worth, but I don't know if he's going to be tempted later in order to kind of release the B and maybe catch or buy something else. Hello. Do you know if this is possible at all? We have 19 arrows and 10 bombs.
You also jump out of the water in this scenario, but it's because if this is something, which it's not, I think Kyong should still be fine.
Okay, and we haven't actually defeated Armos. Maybe this is actually an advantage too, because I think don't you really reset some like ancillary variable or something?
And now he's stuck because he didn't jump out of the water. Oh dang! Wow. His positioning actually helped him out.
Wow, that is all right. So that is very talented. So Kyong is going to be able to sequence rig out this hook shot. I guess Jesse's trying to do something similar. Like wait, so you said something about jumping out of the water?
Yeah. So like Kyong was in. Oh, Jesse, you jumped the wrong way.
Oh, no.
So the issue that Kyong was potentially running into. Oh, that's not enough bombs anymore.
Oh no.
That's unfortunate. Yeah, he would. Jesse was too high there.
Yeah, we got our first expression out of our two runners today.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So, but like early hook shot, it's not going to probably be too big. I mean, there's lots of seed left, and I highly doubt that in this case that's going to be the last time we're just going to be over there.
Yeah, but there's some big logical implications to that hook shot being flipper locked. But to kind of go back to what I was saying about earlier with Kyong in that fake flipper, when he messed it up the first time, you notice he was kind of back in the water in a position where he couldn't jump back to like safety. But luckily he was close enough to some rocks to his left that he was able to put the bombs down and not have the bombs immediately fall into the deep water, and thus he was able to actually still save that fake flipper. Had he been like slightly off position where he was still in the deep water, but not in a position to where he could lay down bombs without those bombs sinking all the way, he would have had to save and quit right there.
I see. So Kyong actually made a really nice recovery then in order to to sequence break out that hook shot. Very minor time save here on Kyong's side. We're actually going to see a slight difference just because Kyong was able to take that hook shot and hook over. Doesn't have to necessarily go off a couple screens, but unfortunately, for Jesse, is going to have to kind of do this, hit the switch, and then hit go down and get his heart piece.
Yep. What item so far? It'll be interesting to see if we get the second item here. If we try to tempt fate with the 50-50.
What do you...
well, just kidding.
Yeah. I guess in this case, I mean, you can still skip this. It's just you're going to be skipping an item. Right. Probably not going to be the best idea this early on in the game.
No,
especially for Kyong, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I suspect Kyong is probably where like we mentioned before. These two runners are really good at execution. Don't doubt them. But I suspect Kyong in his mind thinks that he has overall a slight execution edge over Jesse, and so he understands that he can likely be a little bit more thorough without having to sacrifice something, basically without thinking to himself man, I'm super behind if I'm full clearing the game.
Yeah, no, that's really true. And basically, all throughout these races, I mean, Kyong, he may look very I guess stoic, but he is a machine. He is ruthlessly efficient at something like this. Actually, it looks like we're actually going to. He probably actually planned that. Released his good B in the Vanilla Big Heat chest room, dropping down and basically be able to refill his health and catch a berry. Regardless of how good you are as a runner, this room, is just never. It can be pretty scary, especially on green mail. Well, actually, it doesn't matter because these Igors are going to do one heart a piece, and especially if you can't quite get him the first time around, this room could go very, very south very quickly.
Yeah, and I mean, if anyone is unsure about Kyong's skills, we've had 6 mystery tournaments. And right. He's won 3 of them.
Yeah, Kyong can pretty much take whatever you throw at him.
No one else has more than 1. Kyong has 3.
This red Igor though, maybe this is the final boss of the game for Kyong, right?
Oh, definitely. Kyong, I was just touting your skill, buddy.
You see a little smirk on his face. I think he realized that probably these red Igors are giving his room for his money, but at least he was able to pick up some arrows. Looking like he's got a pretty good quick Armos kill setup here.
Clear your mouth.
Okay, you know what? We just like the red color. It's fine. You know, it matches his hoodie jacket. I'm not really sure what part of like the shirt he's wearing.
It looks like he's just wearing some super cool sweater, and I'm all here for it.
Oh yeah.
So nothing in Eastern Palace, but that's somewhat reasonable.
Yeah, and it also looks like maybe Jesse had, I wasn't actually quite watching like everything that happened, but it looks like maybe he did have a little bit of struggle with the dark room, and yeah, I mean, it's not like the room can get that much easier. Have a lamp or a fire rod.
I don't know if it was a struggle. I think, you know, Jesse overall was just into Eastern a little bit later, plus having to take a little bit of extra time without the hook shot.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So yeah, I think there were just some small things that helped Kyong take a little bit, you know, have a little bit shorter time. Having said that, we are on the mountain. Did we get anything in the back of Sahasrara?
No, it was like a couple heart pieces and maybe some money, but nothing notable. I would like to say though that there were no red Armoses on Jesse's side, so he's going to get a little bit of time over Kyong for that boss fight.
Clearly an insurmountable lead.
Yes. Speaking of, we can't actually see. I guess we're in another dark room, but in this case, Kyong is going to at least manage by using his sword in order to navigate. Jesse, though, going to take a little bit of divergence. I didn't actually quite catch it was on Desert Ledge.
Nothing important.
Okay, and we couldn't actually get it anyway right now. We don't have a book. We don't have a glove, or another glove. Yeah, but in this case, at least we know we don't have to go get it. Check again.
Yep. So Jesse is doing one of our 2 in-logic checks remaining, picking up bombs, so nothing there, which means our logical progression is actually sitting in Spec Rock, because the hookshot that Kyong just used to get to East Death Mountain, still not in logic yet. With the mirror, we could also actually take a jaunt into Eastern Palace, or not Eastern, we just did that, into Tower of Hera as well.
Now, what do you think if flippers are actually in Spectre Rock wall kicks? Then the hook shot is actually in logic, right? I mean, it's actually kind of like a bet. I mean, like if that actually happens, like
if we find the moon pearl here, then clearly yes, we're just gonna find flippers along the way.
Yeah. But man, I mean, that kind of like logically then, you know, kind of requires you to come back with the mountain to go back and get your hook shot and then come back out. But honestly, like, I mean, it's probably not the right purpose.
Low key, was there like one of every kind of rupee in Paradox in those 5 checks just now?
I think you're right. Yeah, it's very colorful. Rainbow Doc's Cave. There we go.
I see. I'm not finding a whole lot with the hook shot yet. Obviously, still have this check right here, but you know, given if there's nothing here, that means that flippers are probably a little bit later in logic. That book.
So yeah,
that's bad.
And the moon pearl.
All right. Well, the moon pearl's better. The book. I mean.
At least it's early, and we do have Temperate Sword for what it's worth. Like,
yeah,
so we can't beat the tablet, and we can't get into Desert, which you know is a crystal. We need some fire.
We can't beat Desert, so it's like we'll be able to do Ether Tablet right here, which is probably the most convenient Ether Tablet check in the history of Rando. But
so yeah, it's like a key under the doormat on top of the rock. Oh my god! Wow. Okay. All right. So we still know for sure that this game is randomized. It is a medallion. Happens to be at its original location. Now, there's another actually interesting point potentially here, wall cakes, is that, you know, so in this case they have the big key, but Kyong is going to be able to also Herapot, and it happens to be in this case that the big key happens to be locked in the basement. Kyong at least would have the option of clearing the dungeon, but Jesse would not have been able to do that. At least it looks like though, yeah, like the layout at least looks friendly for now.
We did get a map check on Kyong's side. I did see pendants at Swamp Ice and Turtle Rock. Didn't see which of those was the green pendant. And I believe our other 5-6 was Misery Mire. Okay, which means this hook shot is potentially not needed.
Yeah, so I guess, do you happen to know if Jesse is capable of crossing the Muldrum 2 gap? one way or another?
Sure. I'm not sure. My initial instinct, just because that's a really difficult trick to do, it would be no. But runners have surprised me.
Yeah, and in fact, I think there was actually a recent race where it was a mimic clip seed. Basically, the bow was like buried somewhere between like I think it was like green pendant swamp palace or something like that on the turn in. I mean, it was pretty bad. But if you knew how to mimic clip, which actually I think was quite a surprise, you definitely got an advantage.
I think we're guaranteed an item in the basement at this point in Tower of Hera.
Did we see? The compass was in the map chest below.
Yep. And then this is a key and the map here in the big chest.
Well, then that's not any fun. I guess they can't both get it. Sorry, they can't get it anyway if they don't have fire, unless I guess Smoldorn drops a lamp.
Da 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 da.
Or fire rod.
Oh.
It's not even red.
We need the Price is Right like using sound. Dun, 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 dun.
So if you guessed 100 rupees, I guess you don't get to win. But I guess if you maybe that I guess it's always gonna be 1 rupee, right? The green one.
Right. Someone's gonna guess 1 at all times. Yeah. For Kyong, he's probably not super concerned about the basement. Jesse might be slightly more concerned just because of the possibility of there being a fire source on the east of the mountain, which we know there isn't, but because he wasn't able to pick up the hook shot, that could be sitting on the back of his mind currently. But like I said, for Kyong, he probably doesn't have that same worry because he knows that unless there's a fire source sitting in Nagina's cave, that it's highly unlikely that his opponent would have been able to do the basement right off the bat.
Yeah, and I guess that's probably like one of the only scenarios, right? Because like if the lamp or fire rod happens to be in Hera basement, then like and that one item happens to be locking whatever like their next progression is, like, but that's kind of like the only like bad scenario for Kyong, right? Because he'll eventually come back to the mountain. We still have all of Dark Death Mountain to do, not to mention like Spike Cave eventually. So it's not like he like would just basically like completely isolate that check.
Right. So yeah, it'll just be interesting to see when we come back to it. Kyong, by the way, turning in the mushroom, which he picked up on East Death Mountain, I believe. So probably not going to be our answer.
Yeah, still a lot of logic. It's like we're seeing double momentarily. Oh man, we should guess 1 case every single time. We turn in something, we're gonna pick it up. We should just guess 1 rupee. Guaranteed to win.
It's always 1 rupee.
Kyong looks like confirming what you also said earlier, Walkix, was that Desert Ledge is nothing to be concerning ourselves with.
It was 1 rupee, wasn't it?
It was actually 20 in this case, but it wasn't even a green 20. It was just a red one. So it's not, it's not our boots. It's not our gold sword.
All right, so I think collectively, like, our progression has to be here in wherever this is. Right side desert. There we go.
Yes, that is correct. So, well, I guess it could be, well, right, so if we end up finding like a fire source or something, then that would also still be progression because that means we can actually go beat the boss, assuming the boss has an item. And never mind, who needs fire when we've got a hammer?
I suspect Jesse's probably going to want to clean up. Oh, there's both items, so we don't need to worry about desert until we come back to probably Combo Mire Desert. I suspect Jesse might want to clean up East Death Mountain. Again, knowing that he's gonna make me a liar again every time. Why do I even predict what runners are gonna do? Clearly, I am wrong.
Well,
100% of the time.
Wallkicks, he's coming up on Hype Cave. So, how many rupees do you think is gonna be in Hype Cave? Should we start our guesses now? 1 rupee, 5 rupees?
So I'm gonna guess 25.
25. Okay. All right. We're gonna be slightly delayed while Jesse, in this case, marks his pendant and crystal prizes.
Yep. Confirm now that Ice Palace is our green pendant.
So we're going to sequence break into ice, right? As soon as we get those mitts, somehow?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Kyong is running out. I guess he still wants to check Nagina, but I guess maybe this is going to be the fastest way. Because, I guess his interest is, like, not very close. Okay, sorry, Hype Cave has Heart Piece. Heart Piece. 10 arrows, 20 rupees, and... 50! You were still under.
I am under. But aside from that, Hype Cave having absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it was. I mean, like, I don't even think we had. I think we even had like maximum arrows at this point, like, so we couldn't even like carry any of that with us, and we didn't even get a heart refill. Like, man.
It's totally useless.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, speaking of heart refills, you actually do notice that there are a lot more heart pieces in the pool, 32 of them, in addition to 2 heart containers, and of course the normal Sank heart, in order to get you up to 14 heart. 14 maximum hearts. So you're actually going to be able to see basically like a very slower, gradual health growth in this case. Like Jesse, only being on, in this case, 6 hearts. Hello, Mitz! So, Meyer? No, Ice Palace, what am I saying? We're not gonna go to Meyer. Why would we go to Meyer?
We can't actually get... Claremous, we can't get into Ice Palace still yet. Like, even illogically. Like, yes, we can walk in, but then we're gonna look at the Freezor and be like, hi, hello, what are you doing?
Oh, right.
And then he's gonna destroy our face.
Okay, you know what? I have confidence in Jesse that he's gonna find Bombos or Fire Rod here.
Right here?
Or,
okay.
Or, yes, right here. Or maybe on Smith's Chain if he decides to do this. I don't know.
I believe in you.
Alright.
I still think this seed is screaming Meyer, but I believe in you.
I mean, it's, it's like something about logical accessibility. You can actually, get to that area now with the flute and the mitts, and you just picked it up, and, it's like something.
Unfortunately, that was not Bombos or the Fire Rod.
It's like so pointy. It doesn't even help us.
But Jesse's gonna take those mitts and kind of work his way up into village. Can't imagine he's gonna grab the smith right now. He's making me a liar. Why?
You know what? Okay, Wallcakes. For what we have learned so far about your predictions, just predict something and then say no. You know what? That's actually what they're gonna do. That seems to be the trend so far. Meanwhile, Kyong, though, is in the front of Swell Woods. Maybe he is a subscriber to the mantra that there is always value in the front of Skull Woods, or at least you should never skip it. We did end up finding 10 arrows in the vanilla big key chest, so Kyong is at this point just going to look for, hopefully the last item's going to be here somewhere.
So you said he's found one item here so far?
Yeah, he found 10 arrows in the vanilla big key chest.
Okay. So Jesse's just going straight through Smith Chain.
Yeah, and another 10 arrows. Okay.
Who needs the Village of Outcasts? We're just going to do Smith Chain instead. He's probably hard following the items, which the latest item being those mitts.
Yeah, and I guess if he does the Smith Chain now, he can always go back to 3 and then take the shortcut and then come back to the Village of Outcasts.
Yeah, it's all pretty nice for him.
Mm-hmm.
And because he's already done the south the south loop, he doesn't have to worry about mirroring at K45. He can just run straight over to where you turn in the purple chest, and then also do Bombos tablet afterwards.
Oh yeah, that's true. We did pick up that early book, and this is going to be, I guess, our last major usage of the book. I guess we're going to hope that that's going to be the last usage of our book.
I don't see any possible way we could use the book otherwise. Like maybe if you're doing a ped check, but
yeah, I mean that's kind of the hope, right? Is that you don't need to make that check because you're already being go mode, and you go back to the back of Skull Woods or something.
Given our pendants, I think the only possible thing that could be on ped is our ether medallion, which I highly suspect is ether. It's not marked on either runner's tracker, but both runners do have the flute.
That is true. We are still waiting in suspense to see what this actually is. Alright, so...
Jesse might actually take this to Meyer area. Do it.
Yeah.
Don't make me a liar.
What do we get? Oh, wow. Alright, okay, so predictions fallacy is not a thing today. We're definitely eventually going to be right about it eventually. It looks like, alright, so Kyong ended up going to North Dark World. Well, alright, so we can get in now. We can get into Meyer.
A little bit risky at this point without a fire source because we are isolated. Like, we could be locked out because the big chest could just be on the firelock side. There are those flippers.
We did find flippers, so Jesse now knows that he can logically access his bookshelf. But I mean, in all cases, we're just gonna find a lamp in Checkerboard Cave or something.
Yes.
Yes, let's hope. Or maybe Kyong will be able to find a fire source over here in Thieves Town. not so far. Those are explosions, but we do need some sort of, I guess we can't use like their lit fuse,
I would say,
to do the
like
torch.
how do the bombs explode anyways if we can't light them? Like,
Maybe that's a question for, you know what? There is a bomb shop. Maybe, like, he might know more things about the bomb. In this case, maybe you should go ask him. Although I don't think we've ever had anyone talk to the bomb shop guy for, basically for this entire tournament. Alright, so I think it was 1 item so far in the front of Skull Woods. We got 3 bombs, blue rupee, compass, and big chest. Not going to be too much worry though for Kyong, just because he has the hammer as a crystal. We are going to be able to fully clear this dungeon. Might be worthwhile for him if he happens to be counting items. Maybe he can skip something in the big chest.
True. So Clear Mouse.
Yes, wall kicks.
There's not a whole, like, our trackers are looking pretty barren right now, but we are Fire Rod for Go mode.
Man, that is super fast. Holy cow. Is this actually real?
Like, given what we have, like, we can get into Mire.
Yeah.
Fire Rod gets us into Ice Palace and back of Skullwoods, and that's all we need.
That is,
like, we are straight up Fire Rod for Go.
That is actually quite amazing. Yeah, and a lamp in this case would certainly be valuable. I mean, it'll be helpful, right? Because then for example, they don't have to do like Mire basement in the dark. Which certainly could be quite challenging. But that's still insufficient. Because we do, because Skullwoods today is a crystal, so we're going to have to, hard require that Fire Rod. But man, yeah, and I'm assuming, well, actually no, because Justice can pick up his hookup right now, so we actually have a very easy and logical way of getting over to, covering over the Molten Tooth gap.
Yeah, and so like this is the kind of seed that just breeds upsets, because we're 1 item from Go mode.
So early too, right?
Yeah, like. We pick which dungeon you want to do. You have Thieves Town, you have Palace of Darkness, you have Pendant Swamp Palace at your disposal.
I don't want to think about Pendant Swamp right now.
Yeah, no, you're not doing Pendant Swamp before you do Thieves and Pod for sure. But like, like either runner could make the right call and be in Go mode here in T-minus 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kyong still needs to pick up his mitts, but he's very close to that. He'll be getting those momentarily here on Stumpy.
Yeah. So, on K45, right?
K45. Yes.
It's pretty darn close, but I mean, like Kyong, as he's kind of demonstrating throughout the seed, is he is very efficient, and he already basically cleared up all of he just needs to go back and beat the boss for Skullwoods. He's already done North Dark World, so he's gonna just make his very natural like south route, basically, like loop.
Right, but like, say Jesse finds the Fire Rod here in Dark Death Mountain, like then he's good. He's in Go mode. Like, that's it. Boom. Go. Kyong, meanwhile, is gonna, potentially full clear pod, looking for it, go through all of the South Dark World checks. Like, it's, this is still, like, this is genuinely anyone's race. No one has the advantage at this point. Kyong just has the time that it takes to do Thieves Town.
Yeah, and probably like and I hope it's not going to weigh too much on Jesse's mind. Is we need to see that hook shot initially when they visited the Zora area. Jesse wasn't quite able to obtain the hook shot the first time around, so it's not like a very minor. It's not a very major time loss or anything like that. But in a pretty high stakes race, right? Especially when you're facing an opponent like Kyong, and this is an elimination match, basically, right? Certain things can certainly weigh more on your mind than others. Okay, that's a nice fire source at least. So we are going to be able to clear out Mire with that. Both, actually fully in logic now because we can actually see what's in the basement.
Yeah, and that also gives us access to finish off Desert as well, which would give us access to our Pyramid Fairy. So again, just there are so many places for this Fire Rod to be. This race is, yes, it's stating the obvious that this race is coming down to who finds the Fire Rod first, but I think there's a little more emphasis to that statement than usual.
So where do you think the worst possible location for Fire Rod to be?
Hera basement.
That was exactly my thoughts. I was like, you know, they have one item there, just kind of left, and it takes so long in order to get. And man, like you have so much open to you, as you said earlier, Walkies. I mean, you know, some places are certainly, you know, more appealing than others, like fully clearable crystal dungeons. But you know, Pendant Swamp, for example, has 6 items. You know, is that going to be probably better, you know, value-wise than one check in Hera basement?
Yeah, and something to note, Jesse did find silvers in Hookshot Cave, so, you know, say Kyong finds the fire rod, but, you know, before going up the mountain, he could potentially be looking at a seed that is without silvers and without that lamp too, so, you know, there is time for Jesse to gain, so long as Kyong doesn't end up doing Dark Death Mountain, provided they both find the fire rod relatively soon.
Yeah, and especially those silver arrows, you know, not only of course they're going to be able to save a little bit of time, like on, you know, on Ganon, like, you know, something like maybe like 30-45 seconds, something like that. But you know, Jesse, you know, outside of like Eastern, basically, hasn't used those. So it could really use those silver arrows, especially for example on Vitrias. It's going to be a really nice, very straightforward fight.
Did Jesse actually turn in the mushroom?
I don't think so. I didn't see him do anything, because if he would have, then I presume he also would have just bought a potion or something.
Like, he definitely bought a potion. I'm not sure if he actually turned in the mushroom. I would hope so. I'm going to assume that he did.
Yeah.
So Kyong heading to the Mire area, going to be picking up their flippers. Be interesting to see if he chooses to dip into Mire. Again, still risky because he doesn't have that lamp, so could potentially be locked out.
Yeah, and it certainly seems to be, I guess, like more common than not for runners that really would like to be able to dip Mire exactly once. So, you know, could be certainly an aversion if you don't have fire. I imagine that he'd probably do something very similar to Jesse, in that just kind of check out Mire Shed, check out the medallion, that you know, confirming at least for him that he's going to be in Fire Rod Guild mode, and then maybe make his way over to Pod.
I suspect Kyong is going to be probably a little bit more focused on dungeons initially, at least do Pod. You know, at that point he might make the trip up the mountain. Because you maybe want to avoid Pendant Swamp if you can, or Pendant Ice if you can. Obviously, can't get into Pendant Ice. But after Pod,
we still need fire. You know, actually, and you know, like, so are you gonna be nervous if like Bombos shows up? Like, is that more tempting for you to go to Pendant Ice while kicks?
Yeah, honestly, especially since I don't know if Jesse checked the medallion to get into Turtle Rock.
Oh, I think you're right. Because he just did Super Bunny and then Hookshot Cave, right?
Yeah. And so, if if Turtle Rock isn't Bombos to get in, then finding Bombos might, you know, lead credence to the idea that maybe the Fire Rod is an Ice Palace. I think, given how the seed was kind of pushing us early towards Misery Mire, I think it's actually just going to be in Misery Mire. But at the same time, you don't really want to go into Mire without a fire source. So
I was gonna say, when you say it, you mean like Bombos, or you mean like actual Fire Rod?
I'm sorry.
Yeah. That would actually be super convenient. I mean, I guess I said, well, okay, so as a runner, you certainly want everything to kind of be like in your path, right? Especially for, you know, you don't have to dip any pendant dungeons. I guess I'm not as quite sure if you are racing like an opponent, or like an expressly quite formidable opponent, because especially if you think maybe you have an execution disadvantage, like you might want to like consider like maybe you're hoping that something's out of the way so you can probably get some of that time back. That's nice. Okay. So Hammer jumped over to the dark maze, but of course he's got the lamp, which is actually going to be another difference for Kyong, is that he still doesn't have the lamp from Super Bunny Cave. So all the stuff that he's going to do is going to be in the dark, and as skilled as Kyong is, it's certainly just very difficult to compare.
Oh, there's the fire rod. We're in
Something
go mode.
in the dark. Oh man, that is fast.
All right, so yeah, 43 minutes. We are in go mode. Kyong isn't going to be too far behind. He does have the Thieves Town clear, but I don't think he's going to be picking up the lamp or silvers this seed.
You actually are probably correct. I guess maybe it depends on what route he decides to take up Death Mountain. I mean, if he takes like the Super Bunny route, then he'll probably pick it up. Maybe.
He'll pick up the lamp, which at that point is going to do nothing for him.
Yeah, but you're right in this case. Like, so Kyong, once he picks up the fire rod, he's gonna go straight back to Helmasaur, and I mean, and then he's gonna do everything else in the dark. Versus Jesse, we're gonna at least like see everything he's gonna do.
Yeah, so it's really gonna see. That was a nice strat there by Jesse. To jump down while facing up to hit the beetles off. That was actually very impressive. I like that.
That you can get ricocheted very easily for those beetles, and then suddenly it's like, oh, I guess I can just bounce off and fall into the pit. Alright, Kyong also being set up a nice hammer jump, and of course, unlike Jesse, we're not going to be able to see basically anything on his side except, I guess, a fire and his sword. Alright, looks like Kyong eventually is going to find his way over to this bottom chest. Oh, okay, so half magic would have been here. Unfortunately, he does have a full magic bar, so nothing really gained, but this is going to be his last point, and he's going to be really happy picking up his fire rod.
Yeah, this fire rod will make the rooms that Jesse is doing now much easier. He still has the Ether Medallion, so this turtle room right now still wouldn't have been too bad, because as long as you flip the turtles over, they are one-shottable. Kyong, please don't be lost. I believe in you.
Yeah, it looks like he just quite can't get to the left side.
I think he's got it now. So
okay, yeah.
All right.
That is a very nice sight, of course. And yeah, and also just for Dark Turtles, like he does have the fire rod, right? And you know, so worst case, right? He's just gonna be able to light one of those fortunes. But we certainly do see, you know, even like quite the time difference here between Kyong basically getting to the Dark Maze and Jesse. Speaking of, looks like Jesse actually has made his way back to Helmasaur, and is going to clear out, looks like his third crystal.
Yep. I guess the big key was in the front. I didn't recognize that. You know, of course it was, because we opened the big chest.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually think that actually Kyong maybe like had a delayed reaction, maybe because he was trying to like get out of the maze, but he's like, oh no, wait, fire rod is my go mode, and then he eventually figured it out.
Yeah, which was a little interesting because Jesse continued to clear out Pod, so I hope he does recognize that he is in fact in go mode. I'm assuming he does.
We will see what happens when they eventually pick up the Meyer Big Key. I guess it's still kind of variable, like depending on the dungeon layout. You know, especially Big Key's early, he just goes straight to the back. That's usually a good indicator.
I mean, for him, there's literally nothing else that he could pick up. He has tempered, he has silvers.
Mm-hmm.
That's all he's gonna get. He has the lamp. Yeah, like he has the 2 bottles already. Like, there's literally nothing aside from heart pieces and heart containers that would give him, you know, additional quote-unquote safeties.
What do you think about like a cape? If you can find that. That's kind of like, I don't know. I don't know if you would like go out of your way for that.
Yeah, I don't think you're checking extra chests looking for cape or Burna.
So this also potentially is interesting. So if Kyong doesn't pick up the lamp, magic might be an issue for Kyong. Like I imagine he would at least go and probably buy a potion just in case, because if you're only on fire rod and you have to do silverless, like I think you have to be certainly a bit more conscious of your massive magic usage. Yeah,
and something that's not going to be, you know, trivial is that Kyong is looking at a Vitreous. He got tempered, which is fine, but fairly low heart and getting to Vidi in the dark isn't going to be, it isn't going to be too great. So, very curious to see when we have all 7 crystals who's kind of on top at this point.
Yeah, I mean, Kyong, I'm sure is very capable of doing all this stuff, but I mean, it's you don't when you're lower on, I would say, like resources or equipment. It's really hard to be able to, I guess, like compare, right? Or with someone who actually, in this case, can see everything that they're doing and have better damage output.
Yeah. So Kyong is going to pick up a blue potion right now. He does also have a fairy, so he does have an additional safety.
One. Yeah, he did catch one. I would honestly be a little bit more concerned about the magic, but you know what? This is Kyong we're talking about. Like I'm sure he knows what he's doing. I guess I'm also curious. I don't know if Kyong would know or want to attempt Dark Spooky. I mean, Jesse here looks like at least he was relatively early, and of course doing spooky action in the light. Seems actually very well practiced and pretty familiar to him. Dark Spooking, on the other hand, could certainly be could be a challenge.
Yep. Jesse does have to be careful. He is in Oko mode here in this Vidi fight. I know with silvers, you still don't think too much about it, but all it takes is one of those eyes just kind of creeping up on you.
Yeah, that one of those eyes really wanted to get up close and personal to Jesse. Alright, but at least he's got silver arrows down, claiming his, wow, okay, 4th crystal.
Yeah.
So he is, I mean, so both... I was gonna say, just like both these runners are basically just like nailing like their respective crystal dungeons. You're just basically like, to demolish them. Just grab the crystals and basically just leave.
Yep. And considering we've already picked up the big key out of desert, we can just go right on our merry way.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, we got both items out pretty early from the right side, so of course having Fire Rod, having silvers for Jesse, again, like this is gonna be actually like pretty convenient for him. He has his choice basically on how he wants to kill Lambo. Yeah, so maybe that maybe that early hook shot in this case actually has kind of like limited, I want to say, like kind of like Kyong's like maybe initial set of equipment, because so Jesse couldn't get over to East Death Mountain early because he didn't have the hook shot, right? So when he picked up the mitts and he found flippers, he decided, he went to go get his hook shot, and then he was able to do like all the mountain in one go, and he ended up picking up like all these really nice safeties, or sorry, and nice upgrades, right?
Yeah.
Kind of really, it's just really interesting, actually, how the situation ended up turning out.
Yeah, again, I'm really anxious to see who's gonna hit their 7th crystal first. All Kyong has left to do at this point is Mire Desert, so I suspect it's gonna be Kyong, while Jesse still has to do Thieves Town and Skullwood. Thieves Town is the longest dungeon remaining, just because you've got to go through it all. And then you got to run all the way up to Skullwood as well. So I suspect Kyong is still going to be our first one to 7.
That right. So that is likely the outcome. But of course, Kyong with just slightly, I guess, like less damage output, is kind of probably going to have a little bit slower time. I would say going through, right? Especially on Ganon, right, as well.
Oh, for sure. But I think Ganon is probably the least of Kyong's worries at the moment.
That is true. He is facing Black Void. Maybe there's some, fireballs along the way besides staying on his sword, but yeah, that's probably his near-term concern at this point.
Yeah, and I suspect if given the choice, Kyong is going to elect to use his fairy before he chooses to use his blue potion, if things get a little bit dicey here in Misery Mire.
Now, you may actually see the fact that Kyong has like over 1,000 rupees at this point, means that he could probably afford himself another potion or two. But I sometimes wonder what like if he actually even thinks like going over the potion shop and buying something else is actually be worth his time. I mean, it might, but I mean, it still does take a little bit of time in order to pick it up.
We'll see. It very much depends on how Kyong is feeling. Again, that assumes that he uses the fairy.
Oh, and actually, yeah, speaking of safeties, so Kyong ended up turning in his mushroom. We don't have powder, which is also another safety, I think, especially really nice to have in upper GT.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
and for example, also potentially here, if you actually want a little bit of health refill at the end with the anti-fairy, which that is not going to be an option for Kyong.
Maybe that was just all part of Jesse's plan, is to hold on to this mushroom so he can use it in upstairs GT to get the health refill.
I mean, like, you know, these runners, you know, are fighting for the tournament. I mean, the talent pool in general, especially for these two runners, are quite high, so I would not put it past
Definitely.
him. Looks like though, Kyong, speaking of, I mean, he seems to be getting through these rooms just fine. Looks like no spooky, at least for the time being. I just gonna do a hit switch the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, has he taken like no damage
Yes,
here in the dark? Like that's ridiculous.
This is Kyong.
All right, so he's doing just fine. And this is actually, I think, turning into a bigger lead than I thought for Kyong.
Yeah, because I guess, so Jesse, right, still, he's in the attic, he has to go back, basically, still get blinds, and then, you know, deliver the blind to her cell, I guess, and then we still have to go to the back of Skull Woods. Oh, Kyong, please be careful.
He's got the fairy, it's fine.
Oh, that's true, yeah. Oh, he has blue mail, too, yeah.
I picked up blue mail, I did not see where he picked up blue mail.
I want to say it was Paradox, actually.
If that's the case, then Jesse has to have it too. Who knows?
It's hard sometimes in order to tell like what mail upgrades they have like on certain sprites. I mean, for Kyong in this case, it's pretty straightforward, but sometimes it's just difficult to tell.
All right, Crystal 6 right there. Oh, Jesse's in a little bit of trouble. This Zyzax, I think that's what the enemy is called.
Yeah, yeah. The horse things are Zyzax.
Yeah, they
are so bad in this.
Yeah,
in this dungeon.
that red one can get into a bad position where he's essentially just constantly blocking your path and just firing at you. And rando runners are stubborn. They'll take damage and then start their dash again, get hit again, think, there's no way that's going to happen a third time.
Of course not, because we have move locations. I mean, that's how rando works, right? Oh, unfortunately, speaking of rando, like the Popos like didn't have very good RNG movement, so actually prevented Kyong in this case from making a clean key dash. And I guess maybe this, you know, Kyong is also showing his restraint and decided to actually just not even go for it.
Yeah, Kyong's gonna have 7 crystals sub-hour.
Yeah, that's
by the way,
ridiculous.
that's
like I'm sure he feels very good. Like, I mean, you don't get a seed like this very often. Especially from someone like the earlier SGLCs we've seen, you know, we've had to basically hunt through like every single pendant dungeon in order to find something, and instead this one, we never had to dip into Turtle Rock, we never have to dip into Ice Palace, we don't have to go into Swamp like at all. I mean, these are like some pretty hefty pendant or whatever dungeons, right? That you just never have to touch.
Clearmouse, our plan of doing a sequence-breaking Ice Palace.
It could, you know what? It could have something. You know what? Maybe it has our boots. Okay, we saw green 20. We don't know if that was the sword or boots or not, but I mean, maybe the boots are there.
Maybe. But hey, Kyong is heading up to GT, except he just got dead rock.
Yeah, he's trying to head up to GT.
Attempt number 2. The first attempt definitely didn't happen. All right, we're past this. We're past it this time. Scott in chat, who I believe is also our tracker, is telling us that Bluemel is actually in the attic of Thieves Town. So that is what Kyong did that Jesse didn't.
Okay.
So I was curious to figure that out.
Yeah. Okay. So at least he'll be better well protected in this case, going back into Skull Woods.
Yep.
Yeah, and Bluemel's always is kind of nice to have, especially for like, let's say like GT, especially when you don't have powder at the end.
Yeah. And Kyong is going to GT via Super Bunny Cave, so they will be. He'll pick up his lamp for sure.
You say for sure, Walk Kicks. Can I remind you of your like 5 earlier predictions about Jesse?
Look, I'm confident. Okay. Why? Why are we making me a liar?
just close your eyes, pretend that, you know, Kyong picked up the lamp, and then whenever he goes to a dark room, just, you know, just close your eyes again, because, you know, for us, it's just gonna be black.
Alright, so,
I'm
lamp for
really,
Kyong.
yeah, I'm actually really curious to see what Kyong's clutch rate is gonna be, because it's gonna be pretty low. Like, I mean, we didn't have to go through, like, basically anything, because it was a very early big key and Meyer, too, as well. It kind of depends on what's, where the GT big key is. Speaking of, if you want to take a guess as to where Kyong's gonna find that GT big key between 1 and 22, now's your chance.
Yep.
So should we even, like, guess wall kicks? We've been wrong, like, every time.
I would say, do you really want me to guess, Clear Mouse?
I mean, I guess we're not guessing rupees, so maybe okay, we're not gonna do.
You know what? I'm guessing 22.
All right. Oh, what?
Nice run.
Maybe
no, Clear Mouse, it's because I'm always wrong.
Oh, right. Yeah, I was gonna say maybe this will incentivize Kyong to do tile room early or something. I don't know.
Watch this be the one prediction I get right.
Oh, that would be awful.
So I did shout out Kyong for getting 7 crystals sub hour. Jesse, shout outs to him for getting 7 crystals sub hour. Like, both runners going into GT, both runners are going to be in GT sub hour, which is absolutely insane.
So like, yeah, as a runner, like, so how? I mean, like, so okay, we're obviously be able to see like the fact that Kyong is has an earlier lead right now, trying to hunt down for that GT big key. But I mean, like as a runner, like how like. Are you cautiously optimistic? Like, are you still worried that your opponent is still ahead at this point? Because, as you said, we're entering GC sub hour.
I mean, for Jesse, like, again, knowing who you're facing, the fact that this seed was as big of a jet as it was, and that nothing was out of the way, you're thinking to yourself, okay, at best, we're basically tied, which is always. It isn't kind of how you want to think about that, but you got like both runners have to be thinking that that the other person isn't that far ahead or behind one way or the other.
Now, of course, Kyong does have as we're seeing here, an earlier lead, but still keep in mind that Kyong does not have the lamp. He does not have silvers, so especially later on, Kyong's execution might lag a little bit when it comes to Jesse, because he's just going to be able to take down enemies much faster. Yeah,
that is very true. And something that we're seeing here is that both runners did hope room going left. Kyong does have the mirror out. Are we about to mirror out of here? No. Okay.
I would be very surprised. Yeah.
Right?
Not something that you often get to see, I guess, in GT routing.
No.
It looks like at least this is one of, I guess, like a couple of pretty standard routes that people take.
Yeah, so unfortunately for Jesse, this is kind of, doing DM strats could have been something that potentially flipped the race in his favor. But it looks like they're going to be taking the same route 3 GT, which means he's going to be kind of the same distance behind regardless. So he's going to need to rely on execution and potentially an error or two from Kyong if he wants to come back in this race. But it's still very close. Still anything could happen.
Yeah, I mean, for example, for Ice Armors, looks like Kyong's actually trying to get himself into redemption. In this case, going to try and land a quick kill. Ice Armors looks very well done. But of course, Jesse's gonna have silvers, right? And so 6 silver arrows is still gonna be faster than the quickest Armos kill in this case.
Clear Mouse, we're up to 17, and we still don't have the big key.
Wall kicks. Did you curse these runners? I'm so mad at you. Wow, could you say 22? Couldn't you say like 1 or something?
But had I said 1, it would have been on.
Well, this is completely your fault.
This was a lose-lose situation
no
matter what.
Okay, all right, you know what? I'm hoping for your sake that Kyong's gonna find the big key here in Compass Room. Okay, we're gonna hope for. I don't even know how many small keys we found so far, but hopefully there's gonna be a small key in here, and then you're not gonna have like pitchforks and like torches after you.
I mean, I have that already, so it's okay.
All right, blue cane, red rupee, wall kicks, 50 rupees, wall kicks. All right, you know what? I'm gonna try and sweet talk Kyong and Jesse into letting you commentate for them again, because what kind of terrible predictions have you made this seed? Good job, all kids.
I take
Alright,
pride in these kind of things.
so I think those of you who decided to think about it was 22, apparently that was the answer today.
Man, this seed could have been so nice. Not that we're not going to sub 110 this probably anyways, but this seed could have been so nice.
Yeah, and actually, honestly, like, I really okay. I guess we just have to subtract like what 22 or whatever 21 something from their item collection rates or something, because I'm really curious to see like what their CR is, because it was just such a fast seed, right? They didn't basically have to do like a lot of stuff.
Alright, big key get. We've done it, everybody. Kyong's gonna go fill up his magic real quick and then begin the climb.
Yeah, and this is also certainly something like pretty common. Just in order, I mean, you always kind of like muscle memory your way into like the big magic container, but having a full magic bar as you start your climb, especially for Kyong's sake, right? Because he doesn't have the lamp, it's gonna be very useful.
Oh, definitely. Doesn't have those silver arrows too, so yeah, it's still looking like Kyong is just a little too far ahead for, you know, the silvers to make up the difference.
Yeah, especially with these mimic rooms, man. Kyong is just flying through.
Yeah, but I mean, if something happens, like, you know, say Kyong misses torch glitch, that's going to make the Ganon fight all the more slower.
Yeah, no, that is certainly true.
So you hope for, like, if you're rooting for Kyong, assuming the worst happens, you hope he holds on to the blue potion that he has.
I think maybe even Kyong, like, I guess assuming the gauntlet goes okay for him, probably could still survive a non-torch glitch Ganon, but I guess we're still gonna have to see.
Oh yeah, like what I'm saying is, like, he wants to hold on to the potion, because like if you don't get torch glitch, you're not. I don't suspect there's enough magic if you miss torch glitch to
I guess to survive with the fire right? Yeah.
Yeah, like you would need the potion at that point. But I could be wrong. It doesn't strike me as something that's feasible.
Kyong, though, I mean, he's letting his execution show that he is also very, very good at NMG and execution. Basically just flew through this gauntlet. Ready to take down Lambo. Doesn't have to get this is like the best patterns, but looks like he is. Yeah, and you actually see him trying to spin more often. You see a lot of runners trying to do the normal fire rod shots, right? But Kyong is very interested right now in preserving some magic.
Yep, because again, without the lamp, he's going to be using fire rod to light the torches, and you want your magic for that. Jesse, meanwhile, starting his climb. Again, in a execution race against Kyong, this is a tall task.
Yeah, I mean, like, and part of just, I think, just like runner's experience, especially being in, you know, such like a, let's say, like higher profile tournament, right? Or there's a lot of stuff on the line. Like, you just have to really make sure your nerves also don't get the best of you, because it's already pretty hard going through the gauntlet. It's pretty hard already knowing you're facing a pretty formidable opponent, you know, like Kyong, and probably hard in order to basically like not, I don't know, like watch the race room, like keep your anxiety or something, be like, oh man, I hope they don't like, you know, dot done.
And I'm watching Jesse, you know, on his camera, and I can see some of the nervous expressions are beginning to come through. The mimics room didn't go quite as well for him. I saw his head, you know, saw him, you know, kind of pull his head back in disgust a little bit. Like this is the stress. This is the stress, and this is kind of what you see in SGLIVE. This is kind of what you see from these cameras.
Yeah, and you actually see him also like making sure that he can at least save his ethics potions, both of them. You know, go stop at the refill room just to make sure he has you know, he has enough stuff going up for the gauntlet.
Yeah, but now he has
sword beams. Yeah, like that's I mean, it's like it's really nice to be able to have help. Sometimes I really wish you could just like turn them off, right?
Right.
Especially for like, you know, like gauntlet is one place, mop would be another place. That would be kind of nice.
Kyong, by the way, already done with Molorm 2, heading over to the Aga 2 fight. This has been just an insane gauntlet for him.
Oh man, although like Jesse unfortunately doesn't have quite like the nice, I would say like RNG patterns maybe for enemies. I mean, at least like in G4, it looks like he had a little bit of issues.
Like he's still getting through it. Fine, like don't.
Yeah. No, it's just
That was either a double or triple on phase 1.
It's hard to tell. But unfortunately, the blue ball got in the way, so definitely couldn't land both of the shots. Okay, so maybe it sounded like it was only a double the first time?
I don't know.
Kyong! This is about as pensive as we're gonna get so far. I certainly, I mean, he might be feeling good. He might still be nervous. He also knows that he's facing like a pretty tough opponent. And the seed was, everything was just right on the way, right?
Alright, time for the Ganon fight. This is Kyong, like you said, very good at NMG, and this is kind of the loadout you'll have for the NMG fight, minus a couple of extra hearts. So I expect Kyong to take care of this without an issue, but again, you never know. I say that, and gosh dang it, Kyong, we're failing the 1-in-1.
Probably at this point, his biggest concern is, well, one, to survive here, but also two is he's probably going to be focused on trying to get Torch Glitch.
Yeah, he still has the fairy, so you know, can take some damage.
Okay, so Kyong on phase 3. Meanwhile, Jesse has defeated Voltorm and get across this gap with a hook shot that he had to unfortunately go back for, and he's going to take down Nakatu.
It'd be interesting how the dynamic of this race would have changed had Jesse been able to pick up the hook shot the first time. Yeah,
no, I mean, like, he still could have not gone up to Death Mountain as he did. Maybe he also would have gone up to Dark Death Mountain anyway after he found Mitz. I guess we don't know, but certainly would have been quite quite the variable.
Yeah, having said that, he will get one cycle quicker in the Agatu fight, but Kyong did get Torch Glitch and is already just blazing through.
Yeah, he's getting
phase
really
4
nice
here.
triples here.
I think this might be the last hit right here. Nope, almost. It'll be right here. Nope.
Wait, all we know today is that our predictions have not been quite on point.
I tried.
Yeah, we probably
tried.
shouldn't do that. Yeah, but you know what? That is like basic 110 seed for Kyong. Get your G's out in chat for Kyong. Gonna move on to the next phase of the bracket. I think it's losers round 4, and gonna claim victory over Jesse. Wow, what a performance!
Yeah, GG's to
GG's
Kyong.
Jesse, I mean, very, very close behind, right?
Oh yeah, and he has silver, so this is gonna be a quicker Ganon fight for sure.
Yeah, looks like though he is also going to, in order to make sure that he finishes up phase 1. Can't all seeds be like this, wall kicks? Just start with boots and sword, just find everything on the way, and it's just gonna be like a rush to the end?
Does not compute, I only play entrance seeds.
Oh, I guess for entrance you do sit through a lot of tile rooms. maybe this is what, maybe we should try and get somebody else. Alright, looks like actually we are joined here by Kyong. GG's.
Hey, thank you.
How are you feeling? Yeah, about the seed.
Yeah, I was like, this is a fast one for you.
Yeah, that was actually a PB in standard as well for me.
Really?
What, PB? Wow, nice.
Yeah, actually, I didn't realize how close it was to go mode entering Dark World. It was like 2 or 3 depending on medallion only. Could definitely have played a bit different if I had realized that, but still.
I mean, it still ended up working out for you. Also, real quick, Jesse finishing right there, not too far behind, 1:11:43. So
these are ridiculously good times.
Yeah,
for,
I mean,
for a seed.
Amazing race on both runners' parts, and I'm sure Jesse will be joining us here momentarily. So Kyong, you fake flippered to get to that hook shot. Kind of, how you think that? Like, do you think that helped you overall, kind of through the seed?
I guess so. I mean, getting there was definitely helpful. I suppose Eastern Death Mountain didn't really have much there to like to be exploited, but I didn't have to do another trip there. I heard that Jesse ended up not being able to get it on his first go there.
No, it was a little unfortunate. We are also actually joined now by Jesse. Jesse, GG's. You put up
Yeah,
one heck of a
GG's.
run, dude.
GG, yeah, that was unfortunate. I just didn't have. I was low on bombs, so I didn't get a lot of it. I got 2 attempts, and I should have dropped a Samaria block to help me a little bit. But I'll also say, if I had gotten the hook shot, I don't think I touched Dark Death Mountain. Honestly,
Yeah.
like I'd probably skip it. Like, it was the fact that I had all of East and DDM that put me there. So.
I mean, all things considered, like the fact that you had to make another trip over, to the Zora area just specifically for that hookshot pickup, though, and the fact that it's basically like a minute and a half or something, right, separating like the 2 times is really impressive.
Yeah, no.
So Kyong, when you picked up that fire rod, kind of what went through your mind? Because you mentioned, not realizing, kind of going into Darkwood, you're like, oh man, we're actually not that far from go mode. But you were kind of more thorough in your Darkwood routing. So when you picked up that fire rod, did you think like, oh man, I might have been able to have this sooner, or think that you were behind, or did you think that like, okay, I'm still feeling good about how things are going?
Basically, I realized how close it was when I was inside Thieves Town already. So it's like, oh damn. I probably should have gone to either pod first or hype cave first or something with more density first, instead of going to like Skull Woods and north of Dark World first. But when I went to pod, I paused there mostly to triple check it was alright to mirror there. It was quite nice actually, have Mary up in there saving the key so I could go straight to the back. But yeah. With how fast the seal was, and there was a lot of points where I checked quite a bit, I had no idea what was gonna happen, honestly. It could have gone either way, for sure.
I also see, we saw your collection right here on stream, which is 133. So I mean, like, so you have to basically subtract like 20 from GT like alone, which is pretty ridiculous. But
blame
I mean,
Clear
like,
Mouse for that.
Right.
Clear Mouse is definitely the one that said 22.
I would suggest you watch this VOD back and use your own judgment, Kyong and Jesse.
Definitely Clear Mouse.
Yeah. And also like I don't know if you guys end up chatting a little bit after the race, but you see kind of like Jesse has a little bit nicer safeties, like so Silver's from Hookshot Cave, and Lamp was a Super Bunny. Wall Cakes was had no faith in you and thought that you would go pick up Super Bunny chests. But Kyong, you proved us wrong, and you also showed us you didn't need it. So
yeah, I had the fairy and the blue potion, so I wasn't feeling too bad overall.
All I'm going to say is that every prediction that I made about what you guys are doing or what you guys are heading towards, you proved me wrong. And so to try to help you out with GT, I'm like, all right, because everything I've said is wrong, I'm going to say that the GT big key is 22. and that's how that went. So like I said, totally Clear Mouse's fault.
Even a broken clock is right twice.
That's unfortunately how this worked out.
Certainly, yeah, a real big pleasure though to be able to watch like this race. I mean, it was basically like a battle of execution, and it was actually really good execution too. So certainly, thank you, like at least like from our side to be able to restream you guys. It's a really good race.
Yeah, absolutely. And so Kyong, you continue on. Do you know who your next opponent is yet, or are you still waiting?
He is facing Ravis.
Ravis.
Oh dang!
Yeah.
Nice
did you happen to know what happened earlier, Kyong, with Ravis?
No idea.
Okay. I don't actually know if this ended up costing the whole race, but apparently when he got into Dark World, to get into Dark World, he had to like last location Aga, and then when he got into Dark World, like near Catfish or something, like his controller stopped mapping something.
Oh god.
Yeah, and then basically it had like a soft reset, so that he had to do Aga again. So that was
Wow.
I think that might be like one of the consequences, I guess, of that happening. So for better or for worse, right? This is your point. But it was a pretty unfortunate situation.
Jesse, I mean, unfortunately, this obviously spells the end of SGL for you, but kind of give us your thoughts, how you feel like you've performed and your overall experience here in the tournament.
I'll be honest, going in, I was kind of like, I wanted to get at least to top 64, and that was accomplished. So finishing 2-2 in the brackets is more than okay for me. I would love to have gone further, but I got to face some great opponents in this little setup. And for once, I had a non-trash seed in brackets. My first 3 were all trash. So this is the nicest seed I've had all tournament.
Nice way to go out, at least.
Yeah.
For what it's worth. So.
Yeah, no, that's good. I mean, I can focus on League and not having to.
Oh right, League.
Yeah.
That's a thing too.
Yeah, League is definitely kind of, I'm on an open team and we want to get into Invitational for next season. So that's the aim right now, and I'll take what happened today. Like, this is a building block. I always say, and I think I can stop using it as an excuse anymore, is I've been playing for just about a year and a half now, so I think we're past any sense of newness and anybody is untouchable anymore, so like I feel good.
You also made it into like brackets for the main tournament, right? I think there's had some unfortunate circumstances where you ended up not being able to compete. I mean, the fact that you made it in, I think, is already saying something. So.
Yeah, I was a qualifier for main tourney and dropped out. Nearly went blind at in April. So
I'm glad you're not blind now.
Yes.
That's always an improvement. You can see.
So we can do stuff like hammer yumps.
Yay for hammer yumps.
Yay.
But yeah, I think, any final thoughts before we wrap up for the evening? Perfect.
I mean, thank you to all the staff, I guess, and comms, tracker, and SG for putting this on. It felt great to be on a restream for this, so thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the restream.
And thank you guys for putting on quite a show.
Yeah, no, definitely. You guys are the stars. It's something I think, at least speaking. You know what? I'm going to speak for both Wall Cakes and myself. That it was a pleasure. Wall Cakes are not allowed to screw this one up, so. But it's always really be able to fun. Featuring some really great runners, high execution, especially in a very close, intense match as this, right? So thank you so much for being able to let us showcase you guys in this case.
I didn't screw anything up, right, Clear Mouse?
That's right, correct.
All right, perfect. With that, I think we'll call it an evening. Thank you so much, Clear Mouse, for commentating with me. Thank you to Kyong and Jesse for running. Thank you to our trackers as well, and everyone involved. And with that, I'm going to sign off. Have a good evening, everybody.
Have a good evening. Keep watching SG for more SGL and a League, both open and invitation. Good night.